All right, let's stand tall, interlace the fingers, index fingers up to the ceiling, and let's just start the day properly by being the tallest we can be. So I'm shifting weight from one foot to the other so I can really get that stretch down the side of the body, so this other heel's lifting slightly. And let's just take that side to side. So I don't want you to be freaked out if I say the word circuits. It's not circuits, but we'll be taking a few rounds of the Pilates roll down to the mat, doing a few exercises and rolling up. And what I'm going to do is give you the option of, instead of holding a plank for a few counts, you can take an extended child pose. So it doesn't need to be as vigorous or intense as it may seem. So it's just about keeping moving and finding areas of the body to stretch. So now let's think about the upper back. Hug, work the fingers around the shoulder blades, chin to chest, and if we round the back by bending the knees and folding, we can get a nice stretch to the back of the body. A little bit of a side to side movement here. And then a big yawn, elbows up to the ceiling, spread the fingers, cactus arms and shoulders back and down. So while you take a couple of rounds of hula hooping out the hips, the legs wider, now the hip distance and circling, let me just talk you through the rough format, and to keep things easy, repetitions will aim for roughly 6 sets. So a couple of rounds easing out your hips. Let me just remind you, the Pilates roll down is the chin to the chest, this movement here. So you're not joining me yet, I'm just demonstrating. It's at this point we'll come down to the knees, we'll take a few exercises in this position. And then when we take the optional plank, you hold it for as long as you wish, otherwise take an extended child pose. And then we'll roll up through the spine and we'll start again. So if that sounds okay, stand at the back of your space and I'll just talk you through and cue as we go along. So let's start lovely and tall, tailbone down to the floor, shoulders back and down, and the head, remembering that nice line, so the ear is in line with the shoulder. So now heavy through the head, chin to chest, rounding down through the spine. So we feel the shoulder blades naturally separate here because the arms are heavy. We're naturally folding from the top down. So keep the knees soft, but we're as if peeling ourselves from a wall. Start to engage the core a little bit to support the lower back in this stretch. You bend the knees as much as you need to in order to find the floor, and then we'll start to pace the hands forwards. We'll be meeting on all fours. So knees come down to the floor, and let's start with cat-cow. So release the toes at the back and go straight into breathing in to look up, sticking out the bottom, and breathing out to empty the lungs, spread the shoulder blades, point the toes, chin right into the chest. So we're flowing with the breath in to extend the spine or back bend, and the breath out to draw your ribs together, engage those core muscles and relieve tension in the upper back. So a few more rounds and then I'll introduce the first exercise, which will be for those postural muscles around the shoulders. So this is one of the key exercises in pretty much any discipline for a healthy spine, to really enjoy a nice flowing movement between these two, cow pose and arching cat. So queuing up the first proper exercise then, if we think about, if I mirror you, this left hand coming up to the left shoulder and peeling the shoulder away from the floor and then lowering down. So we'll take it side to side, but let's have a strong core, navel to spine. And as we lift, let's try and keep the body pretty much still, but it's about peeling this shoulder back. So side to side, we won't be exactly in sync, but go slowly, carefully. And this action of lifting the shoulder away from the floor, you might notice that the elbow wants to come up. So the elbow down and the shoulder lifts. So a few times side to side. If you're feeling energetic, you can do this from a plank position, but there'll be plenty of opportunities to hold the plank. So You can save your energy and just work on this opening across the chest. At the same time, we have one straight, strong arm, and the core is zipped up. Think about your pelvic floor, and right up to the ribs, front ribs being zipped together. So just training the kind of external rotation of the shoulder, by taking it side to side into this lift. I say one more of these, and then we're going to hold the shoulder for a back stroke. Now, if you've got any niggles in your knees, you might want to fold it up the mat to give it extra padding. But let's hold the shoulder and draw a big circle with the elbow. And again, we're taking roughly 6 sets, taking it side to side. So we don't need to remember exactly how many sets, just which one we started with, so it can be nice and even. If this is too much on your wrists, we can come to a kneeling position. So just find where we can work those shoulders, rolling them, training them back and down, and lengthening the neck. So whether you're kneeling or on all fours, let's make this the last round, and then it's going to be an optional held plank, so we can work on isometrically strengthening those core muscles, or take an extended child pose. So that's sitting on the heels, fingers out in front. So roughly 6 counts, just because it makes it easy for me to remember everything. If we've got the shoulders over the wrists and in a plank position, strengthen up your thighs, your glutes, lift your navel up to the spine, zip up the front of the body for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send the hips back. So even if you're in child pose, tuck your toes under and lift up, and let's just meet in a down dog position and pedal it through from one foot to the other. So that's the first set. We'll be walking the hands back and rolling up, and that's the format. So there's plenty of opportunities to take a break. At the same time, strengthening arms, shoulders up and back, chest. Being mindful of engaging the core. So you're ready. We'll soften the knees, and your knees can come to the floor. We're placing the hands back, and we'll take the roll up through the spine with the head last to come up. So here's a nice stretch of the backs of the legs. Here's an opportunity to circle out the wrists, reeling it back up. And at the top, let's roll the shoulders back and down. We're ready for the next one. You're doing well. So head heavy, chin to chest. We're rolling down through the spine. You can pause in the right dog fold here for a moment. Bend one knee so you sink into one hip, and then into the other. Good. And then we'll place the hands forwards. I'll come at an angle so I can face forwards. Here, onto the knees. Let's take one round of cat-cow, and then we'll start the next exercise. So just mobilizing the spine here. And then our exercise here is a chest opening. So now let's lift arm out to the side, opening the chest wide, rotating that open twist for the spine, and then placing the hand down. So sweeping the arm out wide, side to side. So again, if this low bearing, keep going, is too much, we can come to a kneeling position and open, but try to get that twist and open as wide as you can. Side to side. Now we want to try to keep the core zipped up here. Really easy just for the abs to pop out here. So strong, keep that zipped feeling up the front of the body, tailbone down. So we're either in a kneeling position or from fours. Obviously this is also possible from a plank. You're feeling particularly energetic. Last one, or even yourself out left and right, and then we're going to come into a gate. So let's all extend the left leg out to the side and glide down over the leg. Let's lift the right arm and enjoy a stretch to the side, and then the counter side stretch. Hand to the floor, fingertips to the floor and reaching overhead. Taking it side to side as usual, about 6 rounds, but slower, obviously fewer reps. If you want to take it down a notch, hand to the hip and reach up and over. Mindful of the lower spine, the bottom can start to stick out a little bit here. Try and keep the pubic bone curled up to the ribs so we have this abdominal strength supporting the body, so this nice, careful lateral flexion of the spine. We then have to take the gait to the other side. So let's replace the knee to the floor, extend the right leg out, gliding down the leg, bottom tucked. And enjoy that side stretch. If it's too much, fingers to the floor, remember hand on the hip, and take a lean. Or keep the hands on the hips. And the longer the lever, if the arms are outstretched, get that lovely stretch from one arm into the other, that big rainbow curve with the arm overhead. Let's go for one more set of these, and then it will be that isometric strengthener, held plank or an extended child pose, which is still so beneficial. So there's no pressure to do one or other. Just go for whatever feels right. If we're in a plank, let's find that position, mindful to avoid collapsing into the spine. Let's feel the shoulders strong, the spine almost in line with the shoulder blades, and the shoulder blades feeling flat to the back. Lifting your ribs together and away from the floor, navel away from the floor, 6, 5, otherwise you're in extended child pose, 3, 2, 1, and let's all meet in a down dog. So from an extended child pose, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, and let's pedal it through from one foot to the other. There. We'll pace the hands back, so the knees can come to the floor, or as you are with the knees lifted, walking through the hands, pausing to enjoy that hamstring stretch before rolling up. As usual, head last to come up, and at the top, rolling the shoulders back and down. Just shake out the wrists, off we go again. Chin to chest, heavy, a nice little sway here. We can zigzag our way down, just to get lovely, yummy feelings down the back. Find the floor, and we meet for one cat-cow, so that then I can explain the next set here. So first we'll breathe in to look up, and breathe out to arch the spine. We're coming into a runner lunge, so step your left foot forwards, hands on the floor, option to lift the back knee or leave it on the floor. So this is our starting position. Now, same chest opening, but just from this lifted position, your runner lunge position, so we're working with the hips now. We take the arms, alternate arms opening to the side, so it's that same chest opening, spinal twist, careful movement with a zipped up core, side to side. Because we have 2 legs, we will just do one more like this before we switch legs. The last time, or even yourself out, left and right. We can step back to our plank, knees down, and let's step the other foot forwards. So again, it's a kind of knee lunge or runner lunge with the back knee lifted. So your choice. From your starting position, we take that chest opening side to side. And again, as with the plank, we want to avoid the shoulders collapsing here. So reaching into those fingertips. And try to avoid dumping on the hand that's on the floor. Take it side to side, your pace. And if you started with the back knee lifted, feel free to lower it. You're well. It's like giving the body, the whole body, a nice big yawn for the morning. Last set on this side, and then you may take an extended child pose or join me briefly for a plank. So whichever your choice, go for that. Now if you're in a plank, let's think now about more details. So we're thinking about the shoulder blades flat to the back or slightly spread. The front ribs zipped together, the navel lifting, bottom tucked, and now let's think about the hands clawing into 10 fingers, and as if you're swiveling jaw lids, the left hand anti-clockwise, the right hand clockwise. That strengthen the arms and hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's all meet in a down dog. Brilliant. Pedal it through, one foot to the other. There's only one more round after this. All right, let's pace the hands back. Now, one of the beauties of this idea of sets of roll down and roll up is about getting you down to the floor and up again. So let's roll the shoulders back and down, clasp the hands behind the back, and take a nice stretch across the chest before we go down again. So for hip mobility, we want to keep that movement of getting down to the floor and getting up again. So let's round down through the spine. Enjoy this, maybe a little bit of a zigzag flow on the way. Until the hands find the floor, then pace the hands forwards. This time we're coming all the way down to the belly. So let's meet on the floor. Clasp the hands behind the back. Lift the shoulders, so we're peeling the shoulders away from the floor. Now tailbone pointing to the bottom edge of your mat. Pubic bone pressed into the floor. Forehead to the floor. Engage your core, and then we lift up. Those clasped hands helping to lift the upper body. The neck stays in line with the spine, so try to avoid sticking the chin out or leaving the head behind. Let's go for 6 rounds of lifting. So it's navel up to the spine, pubic bone into the floor, shoulders right down away from ears. So if we concentrate on tucking the bottom under so the pubic bone is pressed into the mat, there should be no discomfort in the lower back. If there is, we can place the hands on the floor and make the movement much smaller. So we're approaching 6 now. And then we're going to take a quad stretch before we go into that choice of extended child pose or plank. So let's rest the forehead on one hand, reach back and take hold of the other ankle. Now if you can't find the ankle, lean it back, look for the ankle and take hold. Otherwise you might need a strap, a belt to take hold. And let's just settle here just for a couple of breaths. The emphasis here is on eliminating the crease at the top of that target leg, the active leg, where we're bending the knee. So you can even roll slightly more onto that side and just enjoy the stretch at the top of the leg into the quads. You can also lift the knee and lengthen the knee away to the bottom edge of your mat before placing the leg back down, just to feel extra length in the quadriceps. Last breath here. Gently, without slingshotting, gently release the leg and let's take it to the other side. So drawing the foot in towards the bottom and then tilting the pelvis again, a kind of posterior tilt so the pubic bone comes into the floor, the tailbone is sort of pointing upwards down to the back wall. And then a mixture of leaning into that target hip and maybe lifting the knee and placing it down a little bit further away from you to find some space in the joints and a nice level of stretch in the quadriceps should do the trick. Well done. Okay, the last plank or extended child pose. So slowly release the leg. Take it into your last plank if you're going to join me for one, but let's be the longest we can be. So the gaze is down at the floor. Remember, the knees can be down. We can take a knee plank, otherwise we still have this extended child pose option. So let's go through all our checkpoints now. Heels to the back edge of the mat. Your neck long, so as if you're trying to look over the front edge of your mat. Firm up the thighs, the kneecaps come right up into the thighs. Squeezing the glutes, tucking the bottom and lifting your tummy button and your chest as well away from the floor. So it might feel like you're more rounding the back, but this is a slightly stronger position so that the shoulder blades are supporting the upper back. Also the head, to avoid it dropping too far down, keeping the idea of the chin into the chest and the neck long. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take it back to a down dog, our very last down dog, I promise you. Pedaling it through, one foot to the other. Amazing, well done. So we're pleased to hear we're coming down onto the mat now, so if you lower your knees, and let's transition onto our backs, legs out in front. We'll start by bending the right foot into the thigh, and we're going to fold over the left leg. So take a deep breath in, and you breathe out, placing the hands down the leg, hold wherever the hands find themselves and bow the head. We're here for 3 breaths, just to soften, relieve any tightness in the back of the leg, but without force. Just allowing your upper body weight to guide you down. Nothing aggressive about it. Just softly folding. And then we'll roll up through the spine, placing the hands back and switch legs. So like Janushirasana, foot into the groin, we're folding over the straight leg, placing the hands down, bowing the head, and we'll take a couple of breaths here. Each in-breath, you might feel you back off out of the stretch, lifting the chest, and a breath out as though your nose is creeping closer to the knee towards the shins. So even though it's a held forward fold, flexion of the spine, slight movement with the breath can just add a little bit of softening for the back of the leg and down the spine. Placing the hands back, as usual, head last to come up to avoid getting dizzy. We're moving on to our backs for the dead bug. So let's start by hugging the knees into the chest. We'll rock on the spine. And then this core strengthener, we were isometrically strengthening with that plank. Now taking movement into this exercise, knees pretty much over the hips or further away. We can hold the head and just work with one leg extending at a time. Otherwise, we add on the arms. So if you're familiar with this, let's crack on with opposite arm and leg extending so they're like in a V position. And then returning to your starting point. We'll take it to the other side. So we're alternating. Any niggles for your neck, leave your head on the floor, but with the chin tucked, nice long line at the back of the neck. So the usual checkpoints here of the tailbone down towards the bottom edge of your mat and the curves of the spine not changing. So neutral spine is just a tiny curve in the lower back, and that curve doesn't change. Try to keep the shoulders down away from the ears. If you can, breathe in as you extend, and breathe out to return to the starting point. You're nearly there, and we'll stretch out the arms. To go to a slow enough pace that we have that awareness throughout in the curves of the spine being maintained with a strong pulling in the core. And shaking in the core is fine. Let's have one final set. And then we'll hug the knees into the chest. Well done, well done. Have a little rock on the spine. We'll take a spinal twist, arms in a wide T shape. And let's drop the legs to one side, the head in the opposite direction. A nice two-way stretch across the arms here. And then take the knees up and over to the other side, gaze in the opposite direction. Wonderful. Just to stretch the arms, we'll come back up to sitting. So you can take a roll on the spine or roll onto one side, and let's just meet sitting upright, any comfortable position for you. So let's take the arms out wide and just tie this unruly mop back while you settle yourself. All right, so taking a nice deep breath in, stretching the arms overhead. Dropping the right hand down the back and guiding the elbow to the ceiling, shoulders down, walking the fingers down your spine. A little bit of a lean away from that target arm. The same arm then across the body, just hook the other arm underneath and lightly pull the arm out of the socket. But you're also leaning back, so creating space in the shoulder joint, stretching into the fingertips. So let's be aware of the fascia, so all the soft tissue right from the middle finger of the extended arm, all the way down the arm to the shoulder, into the back, meeting at the spine, getting a little bit of a stretch there. With shoulders down, neck long. Well done. And then let's just circle out the wrists. And we'll take it to the other side. So arms overhead. Take a deep breath in here. Drop the other hand down the back. Fingers walking down the spine. Lifting the elbow. Shoulders down. A little bit of a lean away to deepen the stretch. And then the same arm across the body. Supporting from underneath and lightly pulling. You can give the deltoids a little bit of a massage, squeeze here, shoulder down, and then that stretch into the fingertips, so that we're getting a stretch, influencing that soft tissue all the way down. You can drop the head, enjoy that reach into the fingers. And then we'll just be rolling out the shoulders, and 30 minutes has flown by. It might not feel that way, but you've done it anyway. So let's slowly release, holding the shoulders, elbows forward, up, peel those shoulders back. So you're showing off your biceps. And then shoulders back and down. Nice long neck. So let's have a couple of those just to round off. Chest wide open, just to set the tone for the rest of the day. Lovely open posture, wide across the collarbone. Long neck. Last one. Breathe in, stretch wide open. Little circle for the head. With the soft jaw. And finally the other way. And then you can give yourself a pat on the back. You've done it. Well done, and thank you for joining.